Ladies and gentlemen, everyone is asking, how can I be happy? We live in a world that is moving faster than ever. Technology grows, opportunities rise, challenges appear every single day. But happiness is not something you buy, not something you wait for. It is something you decide. The first lesson, happiness is a choice, not a condition. People think, when I get more money, I'll be happy. When I succeed, I'll be happy. When I own a house, I'll be happy. But life doesn't work that way. The day you tie your happiness to conditions, you'll always be waiting. Happiness starts today with what you already have. Second, problems are permanent, but suffering is optional. Do you think successful people don't face difficulties? They do. But the difference is they don't make their problems bigger than themselves. They smile, they learn, and they move forward. If you want happiness, stop thinking life should be easy. Instead, grow yourself to be stronger than the challenges. 30, comparisons kill joy. Look at social media today. Everyone is comparing. Someone has a bigger car, a better job, more success. The more you compare, the less you value your own path. Remember, no matter how fast the horse runs, the key is not how fast the horse is, but whether you are running in the right direction. Happiness is about your journey, not someone else's. Fourth, happiness grows from contribution, not consumption. The happiest people are not the ones who take the most, but the ones who give the most. When you help others, when you share knowledge, when you support your family or community, you create a meaning bigger than yourself. And that meaning fuels happiness. Fifth, gratitude is the foundation. Every day, if you can wake up and say, I am alive, I can learn, I can try again, you are already richer than millions of people. Gratitude turns what you have into enough. Without gratitude, even if you own the whole world, you will still feel empty. Finally, true happiness comes when purpose meets persistence. Ask yourself, why am I here? What is the value I can bring? When you find a purpose and you chase it, not for one day, not for 1 month, but for years, you will feel happiness in every step, even when it's hard, because the journey itself becomes rewarding. So my friends, don't wait for happiness to knock on your door. Build it, choose it, live it. Happiness is not about having more, it's about being more. Happiness is a choice, not a condition. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for happiness to arrive, as if it is a guest who will one day knock on their door with a gift in hand. They say, I will be happy when I have enough money, or I will be happy when I get a promotion, or I will be happy when I finally buy that car or house. The problem with this way of thinking is simple. Conditions keep changing. When you finally reach one goal, another condition immediately appears. You buy the car, but then you want a better one. You get the job, but now you want a higher position. You earn the money, but you start comparing with someone who has more. If happiness depends on conditions, then happiness is always postponed, always delayed, and never truly experienced in the present. That is why happiness must be a choice, something you decide regardless of the circumstances around you. Think of life as a stormy sea. If you expect the ocean to always be calm, you will be disappointed. No matter who you are, waves will come. Sometimes they are small, sometimes they are big enough to shake you, but they will always be there. If you make happiness conditional on the ocean being calm, you will spend your whole life waiting for a day that may never arrive. But if you learn to enjoy the journey even in the middle of waves, if you learn to smile even as you row through storms, you discover that happiness is not about the environment, it is about your attitude within it. You can see this difference in everyday people. There are individuals with little money who smile every day, enjoying small moments, valuing simple meals, laughing with family. At the same time, there are billionaires who cannot sleep at night, always worried, always unsatisfied, chasing the next deal, the next recognition. This proves that happiness is not something purchased or stored in a bank account. It is a choice you make with your mind and heart. Imagine you wake up in the morning and it rains. One person complains, my day is ruined. I wanted sunshine, but the rain spoiled everything. Another person wakes up, sees the same rain, and says, this is good. The plants will grow. The air will be fresh. I can still enjoy my work indoors. The weather is the same, but the experience of happiness is completely different. Why? Because one person chose to resist what they cannot control, while the other person chose to accept it and find joy in it. When you understand this truth, you begin to see life differently. You stop saying, I will be happy when, and start saying, I am happy now, even as I move toward my goals. Happiness becomes independent from success, though success may add to it. Happiness becomes independent from possessions, though possessions may give you comfort. Happiness is not about denying ambition or progress. It is about not allowing ambition and progress to steal the present moment. If you always chase happiness in the future, you are like a donkey chasing a carrot tied in front of it, running endlessly but never reaching it. The wiser path is to enjoy the run itself. Work hard, yes. Dream big, yes. But do not wait for dreams to come true to give yourself permission to be happy. Decide to smile along the way, to appreciate each step, to see value in both success and failure. So, happiness is not a condition, it is a decision. It is a mindset you build, a habit you practice every day. It is the courage to say, I may not have everything, but I have enough to be happy right now. And when you live with that choice, no matter what comes, you will always find a reason to smile. Problems are permanent, but suffering is optional. This is one of the hardest lessons in life to accept, because most people believe that if they could just eliminate their problems, happiness would automatically appear. Yet problems are like shadows. No matter how far you walk, they follow. They may change shape, they may grow or shrink, but they are always there. If you are poor, you worry about survival. If you are rich, you worry about protection and management. If you are young, you worry about your future. If you are old, you worry about health. The form changes, but the existence of problems never disappears. The idea that one day you will reach a point where there are no problems is an illusion, a trap that makes people frustrated and disappointed. The truth is that problems are permanent companions of human life. What matters is not whether they exist, but how you respond to them. Suffering, however, is not automatic. Suffering is a reaction, a decision, often unconscious, that we attach to our problems. For example, losing a job is a problem. One person will sink into despair, repeating again and again, why me, why now? Life is unfair. Another person facing the exact same situation may feel pain for a while, but then stand up and say, this is an opportunity to start something new. Maybe I was stuck in a job that limited me. Now I can grow, now I can learn. Both individuals face the same problem, but their experience is completely different. The first one chooses suffering, the second chooses growth. The difference lies in perspective. Problems are facts, but suffering is interpretation. If you cut your hand, that is a fact. If you say, I am useless, life hates me, I can't handle anything, that is suffering. But if you say, this hurts, but it will heal and I will be more careful next time, you accept the fact without adding unnecessary pain. Human beings often multiply their suffering by attaching endless stories to a simple problem. Instead of just facing the problem, they add regret about the past and fear about the future, which makes the problem much heavier than it really is. History and daily life are full of examples. Think of people who have lost everything in natural disasters. Some sit among the ruins crying and refusing to move forward. Others begin rebuilding, even with empty hands, because they know that while they cannot control the disaster, they can control their response. The ones who move forward may still feel sadness, but they are not trapped in suffering. They use their energy to build, not to complain. That is the choice each of us has every day. One of the most powerful ways to reduce suffering is to change the meaning of the problem. If you see every challenge as a punishment, you will always suffer. But if you see every challenge as training, suffering disappears and is replaced by determination. Think of athletes when they train, their muscles burn, their bodies ache. To an outsider, it looks like suffering. But the athlete does not see it that way. They see it as growth. The pain is part of becoming stronger. Life works the same way. If you decide to treat problems as training for your character, then even in the hardest times, you will not be crushed by suffering. Another way is acceptance. Many people suffer because they resist reality. They say, this should not have happened. But life does not follow our rules. Illness, setbacks, disappointments, they happen. The faster we accept reality, the faster we can act. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means seeing things clearly so we can move forward without wasting energy fighting what cannot be changed. Finally, remember that suffering often comes from isolation. When we keep problems only inside ourselves, they grow larger. When we share, when we talk, when we connect with others, problems become lighter. This is why community, friendship, and family are so important. They do not erase problems, but they reduce the loneliness of carrying them. So yes, problems are permanent. They are the price of being alive, the proof that we are moving, growing, and engaging with the world. But suffering is optional. It is not forced upon you. It is a choice. If you change your perspective, if you accept reality, if you see challenges as training, and if you connect with others, you will discover that problems cannot steal your happiness. You will not escape problems, but you will escape unnecessary suffering, and in that freedom lies true strength and peace. Comparisons kill joy. This simple statement explains why so many people today are living in frustration, even when they already have more than enough. Human beings have a natural habit of measuring themselves against others. From childhood, we are taught to compete who gets the better grades, who runs faster, who is more talented. Competition itself is not bad. It pushes us to grow. But when life becomes only about comparisons, it becomes poison to happiness. No matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone with more. You buy a car, someone else drives a bigger one. You get a job promotion, another person becomes the CEO. You earn $1 million, someone else earns 10 million. If your joy depends on being ahead of others, you will never rest because there will always be someone higher, richer, stronger, or more famous. Think of a person standing on a mountain peak. From his position, he feels successful, proud, and fulfilled. But then he looks up and notices a taller mountain nearby with someone else standing on top. Instantly, the joy disappears, replaced by jealousy and dissatisfaction. Nothing about his own achievement changed. He is still on a peak, but his comparison with another destroyed his happiness. This is what happens to us daily. Social media amplifies it. Every scroll shows someone prettier, wealthier, or happier. But what we forget is that social media is not reality. It is only highlights. Yet people compare their ordinary days with someone else's best moments, and then they wonder why they feel miserable. The truth is, comparison blinds you from your own journey. Imagine two runners on different tracks. One runner spends all his time looking sideways to see how the other is doing. What happens? He stumbles, slows down, loses focus. Meanwhile, the other runner looks straight ahead, concentrating on his own path, and naturally performs better. Life is the same. The more you look sideways, the more you lose balance. Happiness is not about running faster than others. It is about running in the right direction for yourself. Consider this: a farmer with a small piece of land may be happier than a businessman with 1,000 employees. Why? Because the farmer does not compare his life with someone else's. He compares it with his own values. He eats what he grows. He feels satisfied with his daily work, and he enjoys time with family. The businessman, however, may spend every day looking at competitors, worrying about who is ahead, and even when he is successful, he feels empty. The farmer chose peace over comparison, while the businessman chose stress by constantly measuring himself against others. Comparison is not only external, it also happens internally. Many people compare their present self with an unrealistic image of who they should be. They think, be this age, I should have achieved this much, or I should look like that person. These self-comparisons create unnecessary pressure. Instead of valuing the progress already made, people punish themselves for not being someone else. True joy comes from comparing yourself with your own past, not with someone else's life. If you are even a little better than yesterday, if you have learned one more lesson, if you have grown one more step, then you are moving in the right direction. That is where satisfaction begins. There is also another hidden danger in comparison. It steals gratitude. When you constantly look at others, you forget to appreciate what you already have. You may have a loving family, good health, and enough to live, but if you focus on someone else's wealth or fame, you stop noticing your blessings. Gratitude and comparison cannot live together. The moment comparison enters, gratitude disappears, and with it, happiness fades. The solution is not to eliminate ambition, but to change the lens. Instead of asking, am I better than them? Ask, am I better than my yesterday? Instead of saying, they are ahead, say, I am on my own path. Train yourself to celebrate the success of others instead of feeling threatened by it. When you celebrate others, you create positive energy for yourself, and your happiness grows instead of shrinking. At the end of the day, joy is a personal experience, not a competition. If you keep comparing, you may reach the top of the world and still feel empty. If you stop comparing, you can be standing in the simplest place and still feel complete. Your happiness is not measured by the size of your house, the brand of your car, or the title on your business card. It is measured by your ability to look at your life and say, this is my journey, and I am grateful for it. When you live this way, no amount of comparison can steal your joy. Happiness grows from contribution, not consumption. Many people believe that the more they consume, the more satisfied they will become. They buy clothes, gadgets, cars, and experiences thinking that happiness will rise with every purchase. But consumption has a strange nature. The satisfaction it gives is temporary. The moment you get something new, the excitement begins to fade, and soon you are looking for the next thing. This endless cycle of wanting and buying creates moments of pleasure, but not lasting happiness. Lasting happiness is not about what you take from the world, it is about what you give back. Contribution is the source of a deeper, more sustainable form of joy. When you contribute, you move from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. Consumption says, I need more for myself. Contribution says, I already have enough to share. This shift in mindset makes you feel powerful instead of needy. For example, imagine two people. One spends all day shopping, filling his house with things. Another spends the day teaching children, helping them learn skills for the future. At night, who sleeps with a fuller heart. The one who gave, because contribution creates meaning, and meaning is stronger than pleasure. Contribution does not have to be something huge. It can be as simple as sharing knowledge, giving time, encouraging someone in difficulty, or helping a stranger. Every act of contribution builds a sense of connection with others. Human beings are social creatures. When we live only for ourselves, life becomes small and lonely. But when we contribute, we feel part of something larger. This connection brings fulfillment that no amount of consumption can replace. There is also a hidden truth: contribution multiplies happiness. When you buy something for yourself, you enjoy it alone. But when you contribute to others, both you and the other person feel happiness. A simple example is giving a gift. The joy is not only in receiving, but also in giving. Science has proven that people who regularly contribute to others, whether through volunteering, kindness, or support, report higher levels of long-term happiness than those who focus only on self-indulgence. This is because contribution creates purpose, and purpose sustains happiness even in difficult times. Think about people who dedicate their lives to serving communities. Teachers, doctors, volunteers, even parents raising children, all of them spend much of their energy giving. They face struggles, they get tired, but at the end of the day, they carry a sense of fulfillment. Their joy is not about consuming more, but about seeing others grow, succeed, and smile. This is why people who contribute often live longer, healthier, and more satisfied lives. Contribution reduces stress because it takes your attention away from your own problems and places it on helping others. On the other hand, pure consumption can create emptiness. When you only take, your world becomes centered around yourself, and no matter how much you add, the emptiness inside does not shrink. Many people with great wealth discover this after years of chasing luxuries. They realize that the possessions do not fill the inner gap. That is when they begin to contribute, building schools, funding hospitals, or supporting causes. They find that the joy of contribution is far greater than the joy of acquisition. It is not that consumption is wrong. It can give comfort and convenience. But without contribution, it cannot create fulfillment. Contribution also gives us identity. People are remembered not for what they consumed, but for what they gave. History celebrates inventors, leaders, thinkers, and helpers who contributed something valuable to humanity. Nobody remembers who owned the fanciest house centuries ago, but we remember those who left knowledge, kindness, or creations behind. This shows that contribution makes life meaningful, not only in the present, but also for the future. Another important part of contribution is that it builds gratitude. When you give to others, you realize how much you already have. A person who shares food with someone hungry suddenly feels grateful for every meal they enjoy. A person who teaches skills realizes the value of the knowledge they themselves possess. Contribution sharpens appreciation, and appreciation leads to happiness. So happiness that comes from contribution is not dependent on wealth or status. Even someone with very little can contribute. A smile, a kind word, or a helping hand can bring light into someone's day. And that light reflects back, making you feel joy. Consumption fills the hand, but contribution fills the heart. When you choose to give, you create a happiness that lasts longer than any object you could buy. It is a happiness rooted in purpose, connection, and meaning. That is why real happiness grows not from what you take, but from what you share. When you live for contribution, your life becomes bigger than yourself and your joy becomes endless. Gratitude is the foundation of lasting happiness. Many people search for happiness in achievements, wealth, or recognition. Yet they forget that without gratitude, none of these things can truly satisfy. Gratitude is not about ignoring ambition or pretending that life is perfect. It is about recognizing the value of what you already have while still working toward more. When you live with gratitude, you shift your focus from what is missing to what is present, and that simple shift changes the quality of your entire life. Without gratitude, even the richest person can feel poor. With gratitude, even the simplest person can feel wealthy beyond measure. Consider how often people take life for granted. We breathe every second, yet most of us never stop to think, "This breath is keeping me alive." We have eyes to see, ears to hear, legs to walk. But instead of being grateful, we often focus on what we do not have. Someone with good health complains about not having enough money, while someone who is sick would give away all their wealth just to be healthy again. Gratitude teaches us perspective. It reminds us that what we already possess is precious, and if we learn to value it, happiness naturally grows. Gratitude also has the power to turn ordinary moments into treasures. Think of a family meal. To some, it may look simple, not exciting compared to a fancy restaurant. But for a grateful person, that meal becomes a moment of joy because it represents togetherness, nourishment, and love. Without gratitude, the same meal feels dull. With gratitude, it feels like a blessing. Happiness, therefore, is not determined by what happens, but by how you choose to see it. Gratitude sharpens your vision to notice the good that is already around you. Another important role of gratitude is that it protects against envy. Envy comes from looking at what others have and feeling dissatisfied with yourself. Gratitude, on the other hand, turns your attention inward and makes you appreciate your own journey. Instead of thinking, "They have more than me," you think, "I am lucky to have what I do." This does not mean you stop working hard or stop aiming higher. It simply means you build happiness on what you already have, not on what others possess. Gratitude is the antidote to comparison, and without it, joy is constantly stolen. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. When you express appreciation toward people, whether family, friends, or colleagues, they feel valued. This creates deeper trust and connection. Imagine two families in one. Members constantly criticize each other, taking every effort for granted. In the other, members thank each other for even small contributions. A cooked meal, a listening ear, a helping hand. Which family do you think experiences more happiness? Gratitude nurtures love, while ingratitude erodes it. By appreciating others, you not only make them happy, but also build your own sense of fulfillment. In difficult times, gratitude becomes even more powerful. Problems and challenges can blind us to the good still present in life. But if you train your mind to practice gratitude even when things are hard, you gain resilience. For example, a person who loses a job might still be grateful for health, for supportive family, for the skills they have, and for the chance to start anew. That gratitude does not erase the pain, but it provides strength to move forward without sinking into despair. Gratitude is like an anchor. It holds you steady even when life's waves are rough. Gratitude is not something that comes naturally to everyone. It is a habit you must practice. Some people keep gratitude journals, writing down 3 things each day that they are thankful for. Others make it a habit to thank people directly, acknowledging their efforts. Over time, this practice rewires the brain to notice positives more often than negatives. Studies in psychology even show that people who regularly practice gratitude sleep better, feel less stress, and report higher levels of long-term happiness. This is because gratitude calms the mind, reduces the endless chasing of more, and allows contentment to take root. It is also important to understand that gratitude is not about settling for less. Some people fear that if they are too grateful, they will lose motivation to improve. But the opposite is true. Gratitude gives you energy to grow because it builds a positive mindset. A grateful person works hard not because they are empty inside, but because they are full of appreciation and want to create even more to share. Gratitude fuels ambition with joy rather than desperation. At the deepest level, gratitude connects you with life itself. Every day is a gift. Every chance to learn to love, to try again, is a gift. When you live with this awareness, happiness does not depend on circumstances. Even in an ordinary day, you feel extraordinary joy. Gratitude makes you realize that happiness is not hidden in distant achievements. It is present in the breath you take right now, in the people beside you, in the opportunities within reach. That is why gratitude is the foundation of lasting happiness. Without it, nothing is ever enough. With it, everything becomes more than enough. Gratitude turns scarcity into abundance, complaints into appreciation, and moments into miracles. If you want to live a happy life, start not by asking, "What do I lack?" but by asking, "What do I already have that I can be thankful for?" The answer to that question will unlock the happiness that has been with you all along. True happiness comes when purpose meets persistence. Many people chase happiness as if it is an object that can be picked up once you reach a certain destination, but happiness is not found at the end of the road. It is experienced during the journey, especially when the path you walk has meaning and when you are committed to walking it with consistency. Purpose gives you direction, and persistence gives you the strength to continue moving forward. When these two meet, life gains a sense of fulfillment that temporary pleasures cannot provide. Purpose is the answer to the question, "Why am I here?" Without purpose, life feels empty no matter how much you achieve. You can earn money, gain recognition, and collect possessions, but if you do not know why you are doing it, the joy fades quickly. Purpose transforms ordinary activities into meaningful actions. For example, a person who cooks food may see it as just another task, but a person who cooks because they want to nourish their family or bring people together feels joy and pride in the same action. The task is the same, but purpose changes the experience. Persistence, on the other hand, is the ability to stay on your path even when it is hard. Every goal, no matter how inspiring, will face obstacles. Many people start with excitement but give up when things become difficult. They say, "Maybe this was not meant for me," and they stop. But those who persist, who continue to move even when progress is slow, discover that persistence itself creates happiness. It gives you confidence that you are capable of handling challenges, and this confidence builds inner peace. Now, when purpose and persistence come together, something powerful happens. Purpose alone without persistence is weak. It burns like a small flame that disappears with the wind. Persistence alone without purpose is exhausting. It is like running endlessly without knowing why. But when you combine purpose with persistence, you create a fire that keeps burning no matter how strong the wind is. You know why you are moving, and you are willing to continue despite the difficulties. That combination produces a happiness that is not shaken by temporary failures or setbacks. Think about people who dedicate their lives to something larger than themselves, scientists working for decades on a discovery, teachers shaping young minds year after year, artists creating despite rejection, or entrepreneurs building businesses after many failures. They all face moments of doubt and difficulty, but because they have purpose, they keep going. And because they persist, they eventually see results. Their happiness does not only come when they succeed, it comes during the struggle because they know their struggle is meaningful. Many people make the mistake of seeking happiness in shortcuts. They want results without effort, rewards without persistence, and pleasure without purpose. But this kind of happiness is fragile. It disappears the moment life becomes hard. Real happiness is stronger. It is built from knowing that your life is connected to something meaningful and that you are walking steadily toward it, even if the journey is long. Purpose does not always have to be something grand. It can be as simple as being a good parent, serving your community, or improving yourself every day. What matters is that it feels meaningful to you. When you wake up in the morning and know that your actions today align with your purpose, even small achievements give you happiness. And when difficulties come, persistence gives you the strength to overcome them without losing hope. It is also important to remember that purpose is discovered through action. Many people wait, saying, "I don't know my purpose yet." But you do not find purpose by waiting. You find it by trying, learning, and growing. As you take steps, as you persist through challenges, your sense of purpose becomes clearer. And as it becomes clearer, your happiness deepens. In the end, happiness is not just about enjoying life when everything is easy. It is about looking back and saying, "I lived for something that mattered, and I did not give up." That sense of meaning and resilience creates a lasting joy that no external reward can replace. True happiness, therefore, is not built on comfort or convenience. It is built on a foundation where purpose gives you a reason to wake up each day, and persistence ensures you keep moving no matter what obstacles stand in your way. When you live with both, you no longer chase happiness. It walks with you every step of the journey.